look in the eyes of my brother without shedding a tear for my brother.
Yo, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the InforMILLy Honest Podcast. If this is your first time joining us, we are usually four brothers. Brother Johnson couldn't join us today, but we still three strong in here from the middle of the neighborhood.
It's the first time joining us. Where you been?
Man, we in the middle of season 3, 4, season 3, I think. I've lost track at this point, but we are from the middle of the neighborhood of Gary, Indiana, and which, if you don't know anything about Gary besides Michael Jackson, then I don't blame you.
In the Urban Decay.
I don't even know if people really know that, but Urban Decay. Most places that I've gone, people either go, "Oh, Michael Jackson," or they sing that stupid ass song from Music Man.
I just hear everybody say, "Oh, we had to pass through there one time,
right?
We just didn't stop."
He was I've seen Gary before, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, what do you mean you saw Gary before? Like, it's not."
Yeah, from
like that's some people's like ghost stories when they're sitting around a fire and shit. You know what I'm saying? Talking about scary stories in their life.
It's like, yo, you drove fast on the highway. You haven't been in Gary. Like that's why.
Suck up those damn tears.
Those who feel brave will go to a Railcats game and get straight back on the highway.
Here's how bad it is for me. I didn't even know the Railcats still had games. Those who don't know, the Railcats is a local baseball team because we I don't know if it's like the F League or something, but
3-time champions.
Really? I know nothing about the Railcats.
Yeah, they triple F champions.
But we come together on this podcast, if nothing else, to catch up and converse about this thing called life, and hopefully, if the opinions and facts, as few and far between as those are, if they align or misalign, if nothing else, we make sure the conversation is always rooted in being forthright, being vulnerable, and as the name of the podcast suggests, be honest, fellas. Normally, we would check in as far as that whole, did those principles apply to you at all this week? But we started a little late this week, so I kind of want to just jump straight in.
Just hit it.
I don't know about y'all. Maybe we talked about this before, maybe we haven't. I've watched a lot of porn in my life. I like from I remember that cherry being popped with Real Sex on I think that was HBO.
Me too.
I've watched that before.
And I think you and I were having that experience in different households at the exact same time.
If you never saw Real Sex before, it's really just, if not, it's really just either something about sex shops, something about old white people in latex or on nude beaches, or a random episode,
a ranch.
Yeah, it's like
a bunny ranch or something.
Yeah, like I think I remember an episode about furries before like furries were a thing. I think I remember an episode about strip clubs that it wasn't about the stripping, it was about all the other talents that they had, like chicks that would like shoot ping pong balls out their pussy, and like I saw one. You know how like old wrestlers would do like the pectoral jump. Like watching strippers do that with their titties, and you're like, I didn't know that was a thing. Okay, word. I mean, they have pecs too, so I guess these are my young thoughts. So yeah, Real Sex popped that cherry, and then I remember the first, as I believe the formal word is gonzo porn, which is what we know is typically is mainstream porn. The first porn I ever saw was called Comeback Pussy Number 20.
Oh, damn! It took you to the 20th iteration to find it.
we had that motherfucker on VHS.
Must have been a strong series to been
to get to number 20. I still remember, like I have all these vivid memories of that shit. Shout out to Vanessa Blue and Chocolate from that first scene. But I think all this to say, a question I was posed in the chat was, can you ever see yourself? Well, actually, you know what? Before we even jump into the question, what's some of your earliest memories?
I got you, bro. Well, as I said earlier, I too was exposed to real sex. And there's one particular like maybe scene from an episode that I remember, or two actually.
Mhm.
One is they got a deep dive into the factory where they manufacture and make the actual sex dolls.
I think I remember that one too.
You know what I'm saying? Like the guy, and like just seeing the dude was so proud. Like to him, it was like a painting or anything else. He
It was
showing
very
off his
proud, yeah.
creation. My man was proud, Joe. He
Because-
was proud
To get that
Yeah.
real skin feel, and
Yeah,
They were
like,
like making molds and stuff.
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
And you would just see like conveyor belts and shit, just like with these dolls just sliding on through. It was wild, man. And then like the only other scene I remember is there was a scene where there's two girls in the bed jumping on and off of this huge dildo. And I just was fixated on that scene, you know, as any other, I guess, 10-year-old, 11-year-old.
Because it's fucking fascinating.
would be. Yeah. And then the funniest thing is I remember sneaking in watching that at the babysitter's house at night. I fell asleep and woke up the next morning, and the next thing I watched was Pokemon. You know, so it's like to have those two juxtapositions.
I
wild,
just want to point out that has to be one of the most niggerish things you said in so long is Pokemon.
Pokemon, my man. Pokemon.
Yeah, I watched the Pokemon.
I knew Pokemon had to be talked about, man. I was gonna let it slide.
That's fair.
He
That's
was-
fair.
He was watching Pokemon in a whole nother light. Like, oh, how do they
Yeah,
have
like,
kids or what? Like, what?
yeah, it's just wild to have that juxtaposition. Yo, me like sneaking in the middle of the night to watch two women essentially, you know, impale themselves until they cream, and then to watch the homie catch
Making
them all.
porn
You know what I'm saying? The next morning, the
Making
homies
porn time.
Asher is catching them all for me. It's hilarious, man.
that is like a priceless. I think that made me remember so much about like one episode they were at a sex expo, and it was a part of it where like people are trying to put out their products, and one dude was selling his product called Sphincterine, which was Listerine for your anus.
Wow.
Mm.
Oh, for the consumption. Got you.
For
Got you.
consumption
you.
and for like
Gross.
clean anal play. And it was like you want to make your butthole minty fresh. He had like a jingle for Sphincterine and shit. I don't know why this memory is coming back so vividly.
I have questions though for like clean eating. So what is he using that's antibacterial and all? Like what
I'm
specific
sure.
things is he using? Maybe like I think peppermint or something has natural antibacterial properties. Maybe something.
I would believe,
one
but
of those.
I just assumed like that.
Like
that's way
what
too
scientific
strong.
method. That
I
he
know
does.
you're really trying to.
I'm
you're
like,
trying
I
to
feel like that's
recreate-
way too strong. That's way too
Aaron-
strong of a
Yeah, that's
of a,
true though. Like,
of a material, like a liquid material.
sensation.
For
her.
your ass, yeah. Like the nerve endings in your asshole is like
okay, so let's get into the percentages. Okay,
Maybe
let's
coconut.
water,
Okay,
water
he
it
use a little
down. Like,
coconut because coconut is good for that, man.
you really,
carry.
I got so many.
reverse
I got so
engineering
many
this
questions, bro. I know. I got so many questions.
Marco,
That's great.
what's some of your earliest memories?
Well, I mean, very similar to y'all. I mean, I've seen those shows, and we definitely talked about this before.
I feel like we did because I'm sure I talked about Comeback Pussy number 20 before, and Red Shoe Diaries and shit like that.
And along with that show, it was like, what's the pimp show? It was
Oh
like
my
Pimp
god!
Diaries or
Oh.
something like that.
Yes, dude, on Showtime or something like that.
Dang, where
I know what you mean.
What was it? Well, you not
I
was it
believe
a
so.
show or was it a documentary?
It might have been a
No,
documentary.
it was like a show, but like in modern day, we would call it like a series. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess you could call it a series.
Because I remember like American Pimp.
Was it?
and
Yes, I remember that.
Was it that?
That was that I don't know if that was a series though.
But they would like
It might have
talk
been.
to these prostitutes and stuff. And
Yes, that's the one. And the dude would like show you how he runs game.
yeah.
I just remember that
So-
one pimp that was like that had like perfectly he had his cocaine pinky nail, and then the rest of them were like so manicured, and he was like, in this game you gotta have vision, and like
Yeah, they-
showed off the cuticles.
The way they describe stuff was like so prolific in the. It's like they took it as an art or something. Like
Yeah. It was so sincere.
for real. But that was one of the things too. I'm just like remembering other stuff, and
Mhm.
then
Yeah, man.
I think you said the first encounter. So I always remember like we had this box for cable or whatever. And those type of channels were always kind of blurred out, but sometimes every few seconds, like you
It'll-
could see
A
something
boob.
real happening. For real, like, and that was probably the first encounter.
Mm.
And just especially when like the internet came about, like it would be like a planned thing, because it wasn't just no like quick like access type thing that we have now.
Right.
Mhm.
So that was the next like adventure into watching porn or whatever. It's like those slow ass
The next
downloading
the
stuff.
evolution.
Yeah, the evolution in the career. So
your
it was like
first- your
squiggly
first experience
line.
was
Then
like
the
pixelation.
HBO.
Yeah.
I remember that sometimes we would have like those sleepovers and shit. Like we once Uncut went off, shout out to BET. We would turn on, Cinemax or something like that, because at 2-3 in the morning, Showtime and Cinemax is all they playing the softcore porn.
Mhm.
And so you'd see like the static and the
Yeah.
color jumping, and you're like, I think I saw a titty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember
Yeah,
all of
good
that.
shit.
So to the question at hand, hey guys, this conversation is gonna go some ways. And so hey, could you see yourself ever dating someone in the industry? Now, this is different these days, because if we're talking about back in the day, if someone was in the industry, like they were fully in the industry and most likely being forced to do, whatever, in order to succeed in it. But in the time of OnlyFans and sex work looks different than it did 30 years ago.
So
And
we thinking about it from that point of view,
We-
like
we-
and like
even in the today point of view, we can have whatever nuance you want to have to it. I'm just making sure that caveat gets spoken of back when we started watching porn to what porn can mean today. It's similar and also can be very different. And so, can you see yourself being with somebody in the industry?
I feel like I could. I feel like
Go.
I could.
Go for it.
Especially nowadays, like because of like the way things have changed. I think it's a little more. It allows them to be if you're in the industry, it allows you to be a little more independent.
Mm-hmm.
And mainly for me, it's like protection and like income. You don't got nobody just taking half or however much, whatever percentage they have, and coming up with crazy ass reasons why they deserve all your money. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And in regards to like safety and shit, and just perhaps the way they've been treated. I mean, you hear so many stories. That shit is foul, yo. So, and I've always had a respect for somebody who's like sex workers or what have you. I mean, in any capacity. It's just I only wish the things that I've always wished. I think the industries now is allowing to move, like is moving in that direction of like, are you getting all your own money, and are you being harmed or not? Those are the two caveats I've always like. I'm all for sex work, but can they be protected, and can they have all their fucking money? They're doing the work. They're risking themselves. Like that shit should be obvious. And in fact, in certain countries, the government is actually backing them with like health benefits and shit. Which I think is like really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just a reality of like, this is how things have been for so long. Let's get behind this in some way. Let's try to make it a little easier for them, because and we'll see in the future how things change or whatnot. But I do think I could. I do think there will have to be some conversations on. I'd be interested, no matter who it is, though, if I'm with you, to know why you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? And perhaps what you get out of it. Not that those are questions that have to be answered any specific way. I would just be curious.
Yeah.
Since we're together, I feel like we can have more vulnerable conversations like that if we really plan on taking our relationship to another level.
Right. I can definitely get that. I don't disagree with really any of that. I know I've grown, and so I can say yes. I know in my younger self, I probably would have said no, just because I was still getting to know myself and growing through my insecurities with
let me just
all that kind of stuff.
I'm going to make it a point in this episode not to cut people off, but just this one time, I want to say that you brought up some really good points, and I feel that same way. I want to also say I agree. Like my sentiments are the same, and like previously, I might not have been able to say the same thing
right
the same way because I was getting through my own bullshit.
Right.
So that's 100% feel the same way. So let me just, because it didn't come to mind yet.
No, yeah.
Let me agree with you on that.
All good. So yeah, and there's other stuff to that as well, because sex work doesn't necessarily mean like, your person's getting their shit blown out.
Just a funny way to say it.
By like in every which way by everybody and all that kind of stuff.
But that's that's
a real thing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what's gonna be your situation.
Yeah, but is a common thing.
Sure.
Would you say
more often than not? And
okay,
it depends on, like, that's another thing of like, is your person even doing partnered shit? Because they could, if they could purely be a cam girl, if they could purely be a cam girl who does only solo stuff and does their requests and gets their gifts and all that kind of stuff. But any penetration that they do, if they do penetration at all, is not by a penis wielding individual.
True. But on those occasions when they do get their back blown out, they have to immediately make a hair appointment for the next day.
it's so like
that's your duty. Like, dang, girl, like he put in work. Let me let me get you right.
You got to get you all dolled back up again.
Get you cleaned up. No. But no, like I think that's a real thing. Like statistically speaking, sure. That's just more common. But I even think about like do you consider this thing to be sex work where, and just because you think it doesn't necessarily make it true or not. Let's say your person is like, you know what, I'm really about to be about this thirst game life, right? And so they put up thirsty material via their social media and all that kind of stuff, but they'll keep it so that only certain people can see it. And it's like, hey, you can feel free to keep it, but I need you to know that I need you to know that you need to pay me to do that. So I'll be informed if you screenshot my shit or anything like that, because social media is set up that way. And so if I find out you screenshot my shit and you have not sent me a Cash App for that content, then you'll suffer these consequences and all that kind of stuff.
I think that's fair. I'm with that.
Does that make them a sex worker?
I don't know
what
about
you
that,
said?
but I'm like, I like that idea though. You gonna
what did you just say?
Get to keep my shit.
This
ain't no NFT, motherfucker.
No, the last thing you just said.
Does that technically make them a sex worker?
I thought. Okay, I don't know.
Because you are selling sexy materials, even though you're not necessarily new. It may be a butt cheek. Who cares? But you are now being paid for content.
True. Maybe they're
Yeah, I mean, it's just
a sous sex worker.
I'm sure they would
Pseudo, you
just
mean?
say like it's levels.
I'm just thinking like a sous chef,
Oh, Seuss.
a sous sex worker.
I'm sure they would explain it as like is levels
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
to the whole system. Like
Mm-hmm.
they probably looked at as like the light, you know, like the minor
Light
league.
workers.
In which I agree. I
Light
agree
duty.
with all.
They on light duty.
They are like. I agree with that. I agree with that method. It's a thing of like, by all means, if you know that you out here providing something that arouses the masses, and people either going to beat their meat or flick their bean to your shit, they'd be like, yo, sure, but pay me. I'm not giving this shit for free.
I mean, that's no different than like, or not. It's not completely. It's similar to buying a porn magazine and seeing some of your favorite porn stars on there, or like
Absolutely.
Playboy magazine, and you get to keep that forever, and you get to look at it whenever you want. You paying them. I mean, that's the same damn thing, damn near.
So yeah, I don't have any qualms with dating anyone in the industry and all of that kind of stuff, and I'm already in an open relationship, so I'm not gonna say just to be completely transparent, I'm not gonna say I'm great about the other penis thing, but I'm definitely not where I was in my younger years toward it. So I've definitely grown in that regard of other penises and shit like that. People be fucking. Ain't that deep. Unless it's me.
Damn it, I was about to say the exact same thing about you.
No, but so how about you, Marco?
So although I agree with y'all like about the maturity aspect of it, and how we've grown over the years. For me, my decision of so first of all, now that we put it in perspective, like we figured out like the light workers,
Mhm.
like versus the heavy,
Heavy
full-time,
hitters.
the heavy duty workers. I think I would consider like dating the light duty worker, but I don't. For me, it's not a matter of maturity. It's just like I don't think that I'll be able to handle all the extracurricular type
And-
things that comes along with dating someone that's a part of that.
Yeah.
And
And
that
I'm sorry, my bad.
I was just gonna say like it's not like that I'm throwing judgment on the people
Mm.
who live that life. But it's just maybe I don't think maybe I could handle that. Just
And
my
I don't want to cut you off. Just in case it seemed that way of me saying like I don't feel how I used to feel. I don't know this. I wouldn't qualify that as a maturation. I think that's a personal evolution through choices and circumstances.
yeah, that's a good way to put that. You're right.
Because I'm like that. What's true for me or how I choose to engage and deal with those things is not a universal thing. I completely get.
That's the point you just made. Like I would like people to know that across the board about anything in life. Like when we start to compare ourselves to other people, like that's a point that's you know, that's not missed a lot of times. Like that's a good point.
I can but I agree with you, and I'm grateful for the compliment. But I don't only pushback I would give is I don't know that mode of thinking is always applicable just because my experience gets to stay my experience until it affects other people. And
Well, yeah.
I think that's where that little caveat is where it starts to get dangerous is because people go, oh yeah, but this is just how I am, or this is just how I feel, and it's not, and you're like, but this still affects other people.
Yeah. Yeah, Bard, like you're not like harming others in your decisions. Like,
No, I mean I could.
I'm just speaking I'm just speaking towards like dang, what happened? I was just saying like like a lot of times people don't allow others to go through what they go through,
Mm-hmm.
and they look at them like because their morals don't align with yours, like you're wrong or you're not following the right path or something like that.
I liked what you said, and it brought up for me is like, hold on, give me some time. I just hold on. I fucked up the camera bill. Yo, let me get back in.
Yeah, that
Let me get back in. Dang, it was on the tip of my tongue. What you said brought up something that felt good to me because it resonated with me so well.
So you're saying,
Oh yes, yes. When you were talking about it's not like the reason why you chose, like the reason why you would make the choice you would make is not due to judgment, you know. And I feel like it's easy to just throw that around and be like, get mad in your first response to somebody saying, "Oh no, I actually don't prefer to date a porn stars," because you're judging them for what they do, blah blah blah. But I do think sometimes it's not lost on me that. Well, by the way, while I said I would date somebody who's in the industry, but that depending on what you do might come with certain or who you are in a particular point in your life, it might come with certain compulsions and tendencies that maybe I don't want to deal with, or might be a lot, or might be difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
I think that would like come along with it, and it's not necessarily a judgment of who making a full general conclusion about who that person is. It's just where you are in your life, and where I am. I know I've had certain compulsions or tendencies that were hard to shake, that were just really tough for people to deal with all the time, you know, so often.
Right.
So that's kind of what I was going with.
It's really that thing. It's really that thing of just because you don't have the inclination. Is that what I'm trying to say? Just because you choose to not engage in a certain way does not make you immature.
Exactly. But I feel like oftentimes, maybe it's just my experience, I've been called judgmental for those reasons. It's like, no, I just,
and that's people.
I don't dislike the person at all. It would be harder for me to deal with that tendencies that come along with this.
But that's not
hard.
saying,
But it's hard to argue. It's hard to argue. Well, you don't want to be around them all the time. It's like, well, who do you not? There's somebody that you don't want to maybe be around all the time too, and there's reasons without you feeling like you're demeaning them as a person.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, people will project their own bullshit because if it's a situation of, you know, you're like, hey, I don't know that I could date someone in the industry because of whatever insecurities I may have toward that, whatever possessiveness that I choose not to actually admit to having for another person and all of that kind of stuff. Because some people are very blatant about, you know, like, if you're mine, you're mine, and all of this other kind of shit. But then, but will just as fast say, I'm nobody's property, you don't own me. And I'm like, this. But if you have those kind of things, by all means, that's how you choose to engage in your relationships. And if both parties are agreeing to that, then who the fuck is anybody else to have an opinion about that? That's not a judgment on it. But
exactly, and that's why I was saying in the beginning, like, I would want to have a conversation.
Yeah,
I just want to have like an open, sincere conversation. You know what I'm saying? See how we best make this happen.
I'm like, yo, if one person ain't about it, then cool, move the fuck on. Like, that's just what that is. That's not necessarily gonna. It can shift, but it's probably not going to.
And also, just because we're not dating, like, that don't mean like we can't
be cool
around each other or be cool or be friends. Like, it's just it don't have to be like, you know,
some exclusive thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't have to our relationship doesn't have to be exclusive to that dynamic.
Right.
Yeah. Because what was it? I was watching Two Bears or YMH, one of those Tom Segura shows. And they got offered to fuck Adriana Chechik. I don't know if y'all familiar with her. We've been talking about porn.
Yes, very.
But
I mean, yo, I'm in her top 8. What's up?
Facebook. But one they were playing this one clip by her, and she was going through her work week. And she was like, DP on Monday, DP on Tuesday, blow bang on Wednesday. And there's a lot of motherfuckers who cannot handle the fact that was her goddamn work week.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that either party is wrong. By all means, she enjoys the work that she does. A lot of people enjoy the work that she does. And you know, if you're gonna be a dude that's like, I want to build all the rest of this shit with you, and she's about that with you, then you gotta go, okay.
Yeah. And I'm totally okay with somebody saying, I can't handle that. Like, maybe it's not your cup of tea or syrup and lean. Maybe it's not. You know what I'm saying? I totally understand.
It's a horrible mixture.
Yeah.
Tea, syrup, and lean? Shit.
or and or.
But yeah, so that's what I'm like, I get it. And I don't think that's a judgment on that person unless they say some judgmental shit toward it. But if they're like, yeah, I don't know that I can be, I don't know that I can still want to engage in the relationship the way I want to engage in a relationship, knowing that, because I may have whatever insecurities towards some sort of possessiveness that you may not want to unpack. But yeah. And so I always think those things are fascinating. But for shits and giggles, because Aaron,
shit earlier, but I give you the giggles part for sure.
or we can even for what is it, gigs and shittles. If you had a chance to have a threesome with two porn actresses that you have seen over the course of your life, who you going for?
That is a great one. All right.
You gotta choose two, and you only get two.
Okay, that is fucking tough. Because I literally have seen them since I was 10 or 11 years old. So that's a lot. That's a lot of people to choose from.
I know. That's why I'm like, ooh,
man. So part of me wants to say at least one of them is going to be people. Maybe like Tia Sweets. Like one of them might be a Tia Sweets. Remember Tia Sweets, Josh?
Mm-hmm, I do.
Man, oh man. But it's so many people with big booties. in the industry, it's like, how do you choose one? How do you choose? How, like,
you get to choose two.
I know, like, but how do you choose two? I mean, that's what makes it such a great question. But there's so many with big booties, yo. Like,
I'll even give you an honorable mention.
All right.
Two in an honorable mention.
All right,
just in case one gets booked, they get to be your second string.
All right. One is probably gonna be Lana Rhoades. I'm probably going with Lana Rhoades for one.
Didn't she die?
No. I know who you're talking about though. I can't quite remember her name, but I know which porn star that within the last like 5 or 10 years committed suicide or something. Is that what you're
something
thinking?
like that, I think. But
yeah, that was sad, man. But
okay, yeah.
That was sad. But on a nastier note, that's terrible. Lana Rhoades is one for sure because she not only has a nice butt, I mean, just the eyes are just engaging, the smile, everything. All right, so that's one. Goddamn. Probably going with I'll go with Tia Sweets because she's bad. Nice little red bone. But and she also was one of my earliest memories. We were talking about that earlier. Like she was one of my earliest memories, and I remember watching her videos over and over and over. I had to finally throw away a couple pairs of socks, but all right. So we got Lana Rhoades and Tia Sweets. So let's see, who can I? You know what, man? You know who I do? What's the one chick who I was talking to you guys about previously, and I think I put it in the chat. Black porn star that I like didn't I say like put her name in the chat, like in the WhatsApp chat? I couldn't remember her name.
But you got to give me more description than black.
No, well, part of I was trying to create context via previous conversation we might have had about her, and I was like trying to remember her name. I thought that was helpful. Damn it, I can't remember her name. What is her name, yo? It's lost on me right now, but I gave you 2.
Okay.
I gave you
okay.
2.
It said Tia Sweet.
So I guess I answered your first question.
yes.
2. Yeah, there we go.
And honorable mention to the black woman who you can't think of.
yeah. Oh, and she for that chick. I mean, she's just all around. She's just gorgeous and incredibly nasty. And like the smile is phenomenal. The smile is phenomenal. Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna have to reverse that, and shoot that right back at you, bro.
I'm gonna let Marco go first though.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you go, man.
That's why I said I'm gonna shoot that back at you, because
I don't remember like porn stars' names like that,
That's
except
real.
like the really like famous ones,
Uh,
which aren't necessarily like
your favorites?
Pinky and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
she cool. Like I'm not like
I'm not messing with Pinky.
Yeah.
That's
As you guys say their names, like it kind of jogs my memory,
that's real.
but like I don't have them on the tip of my tongue like that.
Haha.
I almost put Alexis Texas.
Oh
in
yeah,
there, but then I was
I would mention her. Yeah, I definitely know her. Like
Mm.
I almost put her in there, but I'm like, not even that. It's I think her specific. I don't think this is necessarily a racist thing, but maybe just it's like specific for her, but the industry wide thing. How like I think she wasn't a huge fan. I don't want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't want to speak ill of her, like speak the wrong thing and and put a perception on her that's unfair.
Allegedly,
Never do that with anybody. Never want to do that for anybody, but
allegedly.
I think I heard allegedly it crossed my path that she didn't have sex with black dudes. I think that was because like they would pay her less, or like she would get less money for it.
Well, the
that's
opposite is what's generally true, is that white women in the industry normally get paid more for fucking black guys.
Oh, what? I've heard something completely different than that.
Because to some degree, industry wise, fucking black dudes is still a taboo thing.
Damn.
So like that's why like there's sites.
I know
like,
that, but
there's bullshit sites like Blacked and all of that still cater to the whole interracial thing, and even for even some context of like one, interracial usually still just means black and white. Like there's no other racial components.
But I'm biased. So I'm biased. So.
And even still referring to most black porn as ebony is racist in itself. But that's a whole nother subject. Because who the fuck is Ebony? Who the fuck is Ebony?
Oh man, but yeah, I would have thrown her out there.
That's real.
But I don't even know if she'd have me. So you know what I'm saying?
I'm sitting over here racking my brain, and I'm trying to think about who, because I got so many porn actresses in my head from over the years. And granted, I don't even. I still watch porn to some degree, but not as much as I used to when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was a fanatic. Who compliments each other is what I've been asking myself. Like, so I'd probably go for the sake of, as you said, that beautifully nasty. I'm saying her first only because she got brought up already, and that's Adriana Chechik. I don't want to say it first because she's white, but I'm saying it first because she was mentioned already. And I think I'm gonna go for the hood all-star, Jasmine Cashmere.
Okay.
With the honorable mention going to, I was gonna say Asa Akira, but I'm actually gonna go.
She was the highest paid at one point.
Asa
Akira, yeah.
Oh no, why did it just leave me like that?
Got the ESPN stats with
I'm gonna give my honorable mention to Annie Cruz.
I don't know who that is. Gotta look that up.
Even though I do enjoy.
she's like a bigger girl.
No, she's
No.
she's moderately shaved, kind of a little darker skin. By a little, I mean like dark for an Asian chick. Because I think she's Japanese and black, if I'm not mistaken. But she used to be wild back in the day when she did porn. And the only reason why I'm giving it to her over Asa is something about aesthetically. I think Asa's prettier, to be completely honest. But something about the grittiness of Annie Cruz I always enjoyed. And Asa got that she kind of got that Dolphin Moan thing that be taking me out sometimes. Oh yeah, oh yeah. It was like I was like
using sonar. She started using sonar techniques and shit.
So like yeah. But Asa's great. So yeah, I'm going Jasmine Cashmere, who's a hood all-star.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Adriana because so oftentimes I'm just like, wow, you're fucking disgusting, and I love it.
Yeah, man. It's something about it.
And Andy Cruz on the bench.
I guess the real question would be, would they charge us in this scenario?
Oh yeah.
For this threesome,
it's gonna be
would
a grip.
They charge me.
You're gonna drop some racks.
It's gonna be a grip. Unless it's one of those
some different, so some more lucrative stock. ASAP.
I mean, shout out to Adriana Chechik because in addition to her porn stuff, she's actually become very lucrative is not the word, but I can't think of the right word. On Twitch, playing video games.
Nice.
Using the clout of her porn, but like she's doing really well on Twitch.
Got to. Yeah, I think that's actually when I first looked her up. That's actually the first thing that came up. Is her Twitch. So that's the problem.
I've been meaning to make
that
something. We got to get into Twitch, man. I've been seeing like a Twitch kind of branch out into music and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like dropping albums, like really, kind of. I guess they stream them there first sometimes, and
I think Timbaland did that. I think.
Well, Timbaland has his whole like producing podcast on there.
Oh, okay.
And I watch that, but I watch it like on YouTube.
Gotcha. I mean, we could definitely we can get it more into Twitch. The thing is, it's a live stream thing, so we'd have to be like, if we do a bonus episode or something like that.
Yeah, where we record it and live
stream it.
Yeah.
Because like if we actually like if we were to get a decent following, folks could ask us questions in real time.
I mean, we got a decent following because we love our peoples, all 17 of you.
I think that would be fun to bounce off of, the people live though. That's always dope.
Definitely.
Yeah, get people tuned
I know I got off subject, but
no, you good.
No, it's all good. Dang, man. What is mama name? Oh well,
I don't know. I but on that note, but in regards to relationships and the fun ideas of being like, if you had a chance to smash like your favorite porn star or just like some famous porn star, would you take it?
Hey, some of them are actually like for some people that is coming true. I don't know if it's like their favorite or whatever, but like it's definitely a thing with some porn stars will like, we'll like post shit like, I'll be in your city for such and such amount of time. Hit me like, email me or whatever for time, place, and how long you want me or whatever, something like that. Like they actually are charging and making money. I mean, that way
for their time. So I doubt they're having sex with those people, but like the opportunity to kick it.
Some people do though. Some people do.
I don't know.
I've only heard that on different podcasts, like porn stars actually saying that very thing. But of course, some of them are just going on dinner dates and you know what I'm saying, being wine and dine, and the dude is just fine with that.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all know Michael Blackson, he has a podcast or whatever.
Okay.
But a lot of his guests are in the like adult business. It's pretty
Word.
interesting. Like
What's his? Go ahead.
I forgot what it's called. It might be called Michael Blackson, whatever podcast. But he has like this guy, his friend is his co-host, but oftentimes he'll have like people from that world in it.
Oh,
Pretty cool.
what's his name? Used to have a few people on his show too. Van Lathan.
Oh yeah.
Because I think I listened to an episode where he had Tiana Trump and Brittany Renner on there.
There it is,
Brittany
Tiana Trump. Thank you. That's who I was talking about, Tiana Trump. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I know her.
She's getting that third spot for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, she might even be the one. She might have to get the keys to the castle, bro.
That's funny. Tiana's cool. I think what's funny is I think I enjoy her on Twitter more than I enjoy her porn. Because I think her Twitter is just fucking hilarious. That she'll just put up a tweet like every who want to put their dick in my mouth today, like just now watch, we're gonna get famous and somebody's gonna cut that shit out. But
yeah. But no, you're right. Her Twitter is very much like that, man. It is hilarious.
She just randomly puts out shit like that. But nah,
she a baddie too.
Yeah. I just like being a contrarian. But no,
let's rock, paper, scissors it.
I'm not gonna act like if I had the chance to do anything with Tiana Trump, I would take it in a heartbeat. So yeah. But no, what was I gonna say? Oh, in this conversation about relationships, do you find how important is actually being in love to a intimate relationship?
How important?
Like, do you like? I think about like my paternal grandparents, or even just a lot of older couples. When you've been married for 50 years, how in love are you still? But for you to have made it that long, what got sacrificed along the way? Did the love just evolve, or did it shift, or like how important do you think that is to to sustaining your relationship?
They can't. Go ahead.
Well, I would say initially to the relationship, it like means a lot. But as far as like sustainability, for that long, I think, like you said, like those people who've been in a relationship that long, they'll probably tell you that is other things that's vital. So I would say I would go percentage wise like 70%.
That's true.
And would you say, since it's 70%, would you say that it helps big time in those situations of struggle or real like challenge? It helps you muster up whatever it needs to make that daily effort consistently in order to last that 50 years. Without the love, it might be a lot tougher.
Yeah. And I don't think you can, it's always like I don't think you can ever show anybody like that you 100% love them. Like it's like love is so different to different people and how we receive love, and it's like it's kind of hard to define, honestly, like because
I agree.
you can love someone and still not want to take it to a point a certain point because you know what could happen or the repercussions maybe. But as far as being in a long-term relationship is like financial things is like for it to last so long, it has to be on the strength of something stable psychologically in other ways, like, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think like committed. I mean, one of the biggest things for me, I'll say, and not that our relationship is perfect by any means. Um, not a shot, just a reality. um, I want somebody to take that wrong. Um, just
Wrong.
that daily effort. Raw. Yeah, wrong. Yo, I already know Adam can fucking rewind this. Hold up, man. Let me clear my shit up now. Well, you hit me with that for the second time, yo. Yeah. Before they take it wrong. But just that daily effort, like the willingness to make that daily effort is it's definitely a big deal. But like Marcus said, I do think people have in any particular moment in their life, they could have a different idea of love. So I would imagine that would be a consistent conversation. Like my
Mhm.
girl and I, for instance, have consistent conversations. Like, do you still feel this? Like, is this relationship honestly and sincerely still feel worthwhile for you?
Mhm.
That way, that person gets you don't feel in if you're hiding something or you're afraid to say something, is hopefully you're feeling a little more comfortable to like not end up feeling like you're entangled in something that you're doing just because you don't want to hurt the other person or
Mm.
anyway. But daily effort is a big thing. But I also think I've always questioned the idea of love in general, like how I'm loving people or what I'm capable of in general. I've always questioned that and had many of conversations with my girl. But for me personally, it's more about me being loving than expecting her to love me or like putting most of my attention on her loving me. It's more about seeing if I can be loving. Um, so that's without going too much into it. That's what I got.
I feel like y'all said a couple things that are really interesting, but because of the way my brain is set up, I didn't hold on to the parts that I want to
Any of
respond
it?
to. Like I would go, oh man, I want to respond to that. Shit, don't cut them off. And then I'm
I
like,
know exactly what you mean, bro. It's hard. Yeah, you forget. I know exactly what you mean. I tried to make it a point to not cut off people this episode.
But no, I think in regards to love itself is ever evolving. I don't know that the way I love anyone a year ago is the way that I love them still. It's not identical. It may have remnants of what the past had, but it's not. It's just not. I don't know that it's ever really going to be the same. As far as that daily effort thing is concerned, I think that's a dual thing. Even there's the things of wanting to be everything for wanting to be as much as you can for your partner. So you're like, oh, I want to make the daily effort because I want you to feel good. But I also want to make the daily effort selfishly because I want to know that I want to know that I did.
You want to know that you did make them feel good?
I want to know that I
That's it.
did put effort in.
Oh.
Like that may be selfish to say, but it's like your
I agree with you though.
your
I
your
think that is like a dual. I could see what you're saying in regards. It does feel good when your partner shows their appreciation for effort you made, especially things that you know they like.
yeah,
It does feel good,
but
maybe selfishly.
even beyond that, making you feel good is the goal, but it's also me knowing that I did something at all is also the like tangibly pleasing.
Mm,
I like
yeah.
acts of service is a big love language for me. So regardless of how you vocalize your gratitude or anything for things that I do, the act of me doing it is still a reflection of my love or what have you.
Mm.
And so it doesn't necessarily need, I don't necessarily need your reciprocation or your validation for the act that I did.
Mm.
Not every time anyway. Eventually, sure, because it just feels good to be appreciated. But
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
doing stuff to be appreciated is more convoluted to me.
I agree. One thing I definitely am not a fan of is like I guess like we said, there are a bunch of ideas of love, but like when love feels like a contract, like, all right, because you love me, that means you do this, and that, and you say this, and that, and it just feels one dimensional. It feels like I'm allowed to not be dynamic in my own way.
Mm.
And who do you know that's not dynamic? That doesn't have nuance. So a lot of shit feels like a contract. Okay, if you love me, that means you won't do this, and this. But I'm a person, and I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go. I'm trying to. My bad.
What's up?
I only want to push back on that because I don't know if it necessarily applies to love as a whole. I do think a relationship is a contracted agreement.
Okay, I could see that, and that's maybe partially what I was meaning in regards to daily effort of like a relationship. You, to some degree, have an understanding and agree that you are willing to pay your fair share of the rent or keep certain things up.
Mhm.
And these are daily efforts that don't necessarily, that it would be nice to have love as a foundation, specifically when these things get hard, when perhaps you fall on hard
Right.
times. You have that foundation to rely on of, okay, because I care about this person more, like I have something else fundamentally, I'm willing to help them when they're, and
Yeah.
I'm willing to put that effort in still when I'm on my last straw and I see them on their last straw. I'm still willing to put that first foot and push myself, you know?
I think, yeah, like, I think I agree. Like, that's the part where you were saying, like, when things are hard or whatever, and whatever it may be, like something happened in a relationship, it's like, how much are you willing to accept the other one's changes?
Mm.
And you may
That's what-
break those contracts that Josh
That's what
was
I'm
talking
saying.
about.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we just mentioned that we all change, but yet when we break those contracts, we feel betrayed.
That's the crazy part. That's what I'm saying.
So
And I
that's
would-
that's why it's complicated, you know.
I would argue though, when people are going through their own personal growth, you realize it's happening. The issue usually comes in where you want to amend that contract, and because of however you think your partner may react to whatever evolution you may be going through, you'll keep that to yourself. And a lot of times people make a stupid decision that breaks that contract, knowing that you changed in some kind of way. And the thing about it is like, you could look at it as a contract, constitution, what have you. Amendments are gonna happen. That's just the whole thing, because people grow and people change. And so that sorry, my mic changed.
Okay.
So I want to say, like, when that's where the conversation side of it comes in, where you're like, oh, okay, this is what we agreed to. I'm responsible for these actions, you're responsible for these actions. This is what cheating looks like to us. This is how I need your emotional support. This is how I need you to be with me in these capacities. And then eventually, if you go, hey, you know what, my anxiety is going a little haywire right now, so I can't provide this emotional support for you. And then you get to adjust. But instead you go, man, I'm feeling kind of fucked up. And then you don't tell them, and then they go needing your emotional support in the way that you agreed to do it. And then you don't provide it. And they're like, I don't feel like you're supporting me the way that, you agreed to support me.
But you know what? Like, a lot of times in relationships is not that black and white, you know?
That's what I
It's
was
like
gonna say.
sometimes, I mean, of course, like, it's different situational things, but what I'm saying is, like, sometimes you don't even know exactly what's going on. You
Mhm.
know, 2020 is in hindsight
That's
type
real.
of thing.
Yes.
That's real.
And I think that's another one of the reasons how we evolve is failing in relationships and then realizing like, oh, that's what happened and that's why it happened.
Mm,
In
mhm.
and
I can definitely relate to
and
that.
we
And
and
that's
we and we have to make our decisions if we're gonna move on or realize that, hey, like, I'm an evolving person, as are you, and this is what happened. But we
yeah.
all cut our losses and or we decide to stay. But I don't think as many relationships we get in that don't have an aspect of love to it. Like,
Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying?
Platonic or intimate, like love is going to exist in all those kind of relationships. Whether or not it's foundational to that relationship, I think depends on the
Yeah.
it depends
That's
on it.
that's
Right on.
why I feel like being loving is more like focusing on how I can being loving is more important than the person loving me is what like the way that's summed it up. But I was definitely gonna say like it's definitely not that black and white always. Because who's to say that a particular even though you could be knowing that they're going through some things or evolving or whatever,
Mhm.
it doesn't negate whatever emotional response you might have. That first one might be a compulsion of feeling betrayed, and then if you're in a particular insecure state or whatever, it's going to be hard to have the same clarity to say, okay, this is what's fair, that I give you the space to evolve, blah blah blah, and actually say my piece without feeling betrayed or taken
I could
whatever.
I
But
could
really quick, when
uh,
that's kind of, it just comes back to like the idea of love, or like what I guess our views on love. And again, that's why I
mhm.
always come back to like, is it still feel worthwhile to you? So you recognize that both parties recognize they have the freedom if they feel they could evolve better alone or need space or whatever, they don't feel trapped.
Mhm.
Like just that freedom to evolve, that freedom to change or whatever. And the person ultimately allowing for that and reminding him for that, as opposed to, no, wait a minute, you forgot to help me still. You forgot to, like, I know you're working on you, but you forgot to, like,
Mhm.
if just a reminder, if you no longer feel like that's worthwhile to you, you do have the space to figure out what's next.
Right. Right.
So,
I, yep, it's gone. Oh well. Uh, I feel you on that, and I think this is what I was gonna say. Um, I personally always just want people to be encouraged to go, if you are feeling that insecurity, what have you, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to have a solution, but asking your partner or whomever to acknowledge that, to help to be with you and acknowledging that that's where you're at, and to give grace towards whatever the solution could possibly be,
no doubt. Yeah.
as opposed to never bringing up whatever it is that you're feeling, and then that person being left to interpret why your interaction has shifted.
Yeah, man.
I think
Dude,
I was
go
gonna say,
ahead, bro.
like, one of the things that I've had to get better in relationships is like to go off what you said, um like noticing the cues, because everybody may not be so direct or vocal in your relationship. Like,
Right.
sometimes
Yeah.
you got to read certain cues about this other person that they may actually be trying to tell you something,
Mhm.
but you not focusing in on that thing. And you know what I'm saying, you just not reading a person well.
Might not
That could
receive
that
information the same way. Yeah.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
may be happening to you, or you may be doing it to the other person. Like,
Right.
that's something that I've had to grow with in relationships.
Same, bro. Me too.
Mm.
I I do ultimately think that like if you care about the people around you, whoever the fuck they are, like you find a way to make yourself feel better, like more pleasant to be around, more pleasant to
Mhm.
deal with and be with. I do think that's like ultimate. But something I try to remind my girl, well, we try to remind each other, is that like always take the risk. Cause I know there's gonna be many times where I might like what Marcus just said. I might not know. I might be missing a cue, or I might not know exactly what she wants to say. So I'm trying to always remind you, always like you have the freedom, take the risk, even though like whatever you blowback you feel might happen, just take the risk so you don't feel trapped. Take the risk, because even if you do get blowback, we might learn something about one another that says, oh, maybe it's not worthwhile going forward. And you would not have known that. You would have been trapped for who knows how many years longer, maybe. You
Or
can't guarantee
it may
that you'll
make your
always.
relationship stronger.
We have that other option as well. But if you don't take that risk, you don't have the option. You don't see that option always, you know?
Might not be always applicable, but I just want to add a little caveat, a little asterisk. Take the risk with consideration of the main people that it could be consequential toward besides you.
Meaning outside of us too? Like
And-
outside of me and a person?
That's what I'm saying. Because sometimes taking a risk, let me say take a risk. Every choice has a consequence. Positive, negative, what have you. Every choice is going to lead to consequences. Weigh your consequences, because although the consequences might be minimal towards you, they may be severe toward the other person for that risk.
Yeah.
And you're like,
I
oh,
can see that.
and so you made something that was good, that wasn't going to be too detrimental to you, but didn't consider that same risk that you think may be good for y'all long term, if it goes well. If it doesn't go well, it could be devastating toward the other party. And so just really weighing out those consequences and considerations.
Yeah. I think that goes along. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that also goes along with the particular relationship. Like
That's what I'm
whatever.
saying.
Yeah.
It's like it's not always applicable, but it
True.
is a thing of whatever choice you make in any situation, regardless of whether or not you're talking about partnerships, you're talking about friendships, you're talking about work life. Every decision has consequences. Weigh your consequences, and if you have the capacity and aren't a complete sociopath, think about how those consequences affect other people.
Yeah.
But yo, speaking of love, we love y'all. And brothers, I love you.
Ditto, man.
We appreciate y'all for riding with us for as long as you have, or if you're new, we appreciate you for joining us. And by all means, fellas, you got any last thoughts?
Yo, I love how we do this. I love how we naturally morph from like porn stuff, from porn to like loving, intimate, open relationship talk. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that we could find, it's not just black and white. You know, we can find common ground in those to kind of move us to also, I guess, what could be considered maybe a slightly lighter subject as well. So, dope.
Yeah.
I love the nuance, man. I love the nuance with you guys.
It's always
And
fun.
I hope the public does too. That's where I was getting at. I hope you guys do too.
We do.
Likewise.
By all means, you can rate, review, like, share, subscribe. Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. You can write us at informallyyhonestpodcast@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Instagram at Informally Honest, Facebook at Informally Honest Podcast, and on Twitter at Informally_HP. If you're ever wondering, by all means, it's right over there. See my finger?
Billy.
InforMILLy, for Millie. Only time you'll hear me make a Lil Wayne reference, because I'm not a fan. But
Yo, that Mona Lisa song with Kendrick is fire though.
I'm not familiar. But we appreciate y'all. And by all means, every conversation that you have, every connection that you make, and every person or interaction that you engage in, we encourage and implore you to be forthright, vulnerable, and most of fucking all, be honest. Peace.
Most of fuck all.
Eyes of my brother, without shedding a tear for my brother. I really wanna try for my brother, 'cause I truly do feel for my brother.